911. Vigor test free, scientifically proven today.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
Well, what do you think? You expect me to play some other kind of music this morning? I kind of expected me to. But, after I last talked to you guys, or, was here last week on Sunday, I had some trouble. It seemed a couple hours after the broadcast, and, I was down for the count. I probably spent about 48 hours sleeping for 60 to 90 minutes and then getting up and worshiping the toilet bowl. And that was an incredible process. Makes you feel alive. You're listening to the Republic of Texas radio show. I'm your host, Steve O'Brien, and I'm talking about my adventures with the toilet last week after, I was on the air. And I know that might sound a little bit funny, but why do we talk about that on the radio? Well, it is Texas, right? It was, I enjoyed my time with you guys last week, and, we're back. But I lost a couple days and was scheduling and just my life in general. I had originally intended to bring on Joe Bob Fallon. He's a House representative in the Republic of Texas. I'd originally contacted him and said, hey, man, come on, let's talk about the international angle. And he says, I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about that. And I go, come on, man. I've heard you talk. You're clear. You're level-headed. Some people that I talk to, Joe Bob is really thought of highly in the Republic of Texas. I've even heard people say that when President Jarnicki is going to be leaving office, and that's only, a little over a year from now, that Joe Bob seems like a good candidate to throw out there, and I'd probably say, yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea. The Republic of Texas is a governmental body. You can find them, reach them over at thetexasrepublic.com. They reassembled after a long hiatus when, Anson Jones inked a deal with the United States of America at the time and said, hey, man, we're going to we'll take our country, we'll join your country, and we'll go on and be all happy and follow constitutions and stuff like that. That stopped happening. Anyways, there's a bunch of nuances in on that, and I like to talk about Texas and, Texas history. I've been reading a little bit about New Orleans and the Texas Revolution again. It's a wonderful book by Edward L. Miller. I don't really have much more to say about that subject this week, but I am, back then in 1835, 1836, it was a totally different world. I mean, completely different world. Racism was rampant. We hated people just for the color of their skin. We hated people for all sorts of reasons. Money wasn't the same thing. Anyways, we'll get into that a little bit more too. But not today. Today I've kind of got a course, outlined, and we're going to be talking about a bit of stuff. But since we're talking about books, let's talk a little bit about the Daughters of the Republic of Texas. So the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, they were taking care of the Alamo. I believe they did 110 years, as a group, as an organization, and they kept the doors open on the Alamo. They kept it clean. They kept it, they kept the memory of it alive. A little bit ago, George P. Bush was, stumping and trying to become Texas Land Commissioner, and I don't exactly know the story, but I was reading a little bit about it this last week. And I found this little thing, and it says, George P. Bush is kicking it there with the Daughters of the Republic of Texas and at the Alamo, and he's going, man, it's time for the Daughters of the Republic of Texas to take a greater part in managing the affairs of the Alamo. And what happened? George P. Bush is in office, and he goes, man, hey, United Nations, check it out. Why don't you create this as a heritage zone? And, we're going to make this a state-run memorial. The Alamo is going to be state-run because the state manages all these kind of things much better than the Daughters have. And then now we're sitting there going, bad Daughters, you trashed the Alamo for 110 years. You sat there and did this and that. And I don't know, man. Seems like a slap in the face, and I could see why these ladies would be so upset. And the moment a politician comes over and says, we love you, and we think you should take a greater role, turn, run, walk away, do something, I don't know, you're under attack. The Daughters of the Republic of Texas are under attack. They're being deflamed and this and that and this and that. And they have this little issue that's going on in the news today where they've been assembling books. I talked to you about New Orleans and the Texas Revolution, by Edward L. Miller. But there's so many things that have been written about Texas and the Texas histories, and the Daughters have been pulling this together. Now, the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, they're in no way related to the Republic of Texas, the one that exists over at thetexasrepublic.com. But they do share a love of Texas and the spirit and all this other stuff and a heritage. And they've been collecting books. They've been keeping them in the library over at the Alamo. Now that the state is taking it over, the state is saying, well, those aren't your books. Those are our books. And then they're going like, well, hold on, man. Those are our books. Those are our members' books. And they go, well, you can't use the Alamo for storage of your books for free. It's like, oh, my God, the pissing contest never ends. It never ends. Well, I'm hoping it's going to end. I'd like to see some kind of reality check. But I get a kick out of the fact that the state of Texas and all of its wonderful abilities to create bureaucracies is going to try to do something better than a group of dedicated individuals. The Republic, or the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, have maintained that place for 110 years and kept it, well, the reverence of what it actually meant. Now, a lot of people believe that the only thing that it meant was it was the first, the first place attacked by Santa Anna, in the War of Independence for Texas itself. But it became a battle cry. It was also a time where that army disobeyed Sam Houston for the first time. Sam Houston had called for a withdrawal of the Alamo and a fallback, and they wouldn't do that. They were just, we're going to engage, we're standing, we're not running. It also led to, well, the second time they didn't obey Sam Houston when he said withdraw, and they said, no, remember the Alamo. That was out in East Texas. They were kind of like moving from swamp to swamp and all this other stuff. And there's a lot better people to tell you the history of Texas. But I just want to tell you how important it is. Texas is, well, what is Texas and why is it, whatever the heck it is. There's a recent article in the news in the dailybeast.com. This chick, right? She writes, why are there Texas embassies in London and Paris? And it's a cute little article, and she goes on to say, Texas existed 1836 to 1845 and yada, yada, yada. And, it's so loved that people make bumper stickers talking about it being free and this and this. And, girl, you have no idea how popular Texas independence is. And you may have never even heard the show because there was multiple parties looking to a free and independent Texas. Now, that leads me to talk about a saying. Now, there's this saying that a friend of mine has. He says, till the wheels come off. And I remember hearing him say that for the first time, and I said, what the heck does that mean? till the wheels come off. And I think about it, and I thought about it, and I think about some things way too much. But a car or a wagon or whatever, wheels eventually come off. You can sit there and tighten the lug nuts, and the wheels came back together after, I'd say, 1836 to 1846 was the first run of the Republic of Texas. During that time, Sam Houston, Mirabeau Lamar was president. Sam Houston and Anson Jones was president, right? Anson Jones is, well known as the last president, the one to ink the deal, the one to go against the Constitution of the Republic of Texas and to do shenanigans. Yes, he was not a good man. Well, maybe he was. Some say he was played. Some say that, we'll get into that one day too. I know somebody that can talk to that really well. We'll do an Anson Jones show. We've got a lot to cover. But till the wheels come off, my point is there was this guy, right? And oh man, my brain is just still not at 100%. Richard McLaren in the 90s, it was like 1994, somewhere around that time. He said, well, check this out, man. Anson Jones told the Congress not to come to work. Well, he can't do that. And all this stuff is not constitutional as per Texas. And, it's not binding. The only thing we have to do is restart this thing. Boom, boom, boom. He pulled the cord, fired up the engine, and Texas was reborn. Okay. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It technically was because he followed the Constitution to restart the Constitution, and they reassembled. Well, that group was huge. He literally was able to bring thousands of people to his camp. And people would come from all over Texas and say, yeah, it's about time. Now, this is the mid-'90s. We're going through a lot of turmoil in the mid-'90s. All this communication didn't come from the Internet. In a lot of ways, the Internet adds to the fog and the lack of communications. It's just a little bit harder to deal with. In those days, it all went through the gun shows, and you had to go to a meeting to actually know what was on a meeting, or maybe somebody had a tape recorder or something like that, and that was great. MP3 recorders, they really weren't around at the time. I might have had one. I had a lot of technology back then, but, I wasn't in Texas. So he has this cart. He put the wagon back together, and he's moving along, and then, boom, he gets something in his head, and he goes all cattywampus. He does some stupid shenanigans, and, the Republic of Texas has to come down on him. And, actually, the Republic of Texas was coming down on him at the exact same time that the corporate United States of America was coming down on him. So this guy, Richard McLaren, is now embattled, emboldened, whatever. He had a standoff, and, the wheels came off the cart. I'd say at that point, the wheels just kept rolling. They rolled forward just a little bit. And they bumped into this, these wheels. These are all, it's a metaphor for people, right? Because they work together, and then they go off on all these different directions. And now, as I look over the lay of the land of Texas independence, I can see Freedom, Texas. I see the Texas Nationals. I see the Republic of Texas. And I know I don't see others. There's still wheels rolling around, people that are seeking independence and freedom and liberty, right, that understand a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of people that don't understand a lot of stuff about, the world we live in today. I'd classify the Daughters of the Republic of Texas as being, inside that don't understand zone. And I hope I'm wrong. Right? Because we don't live in a republic. This is not the Republic of the United States of America. That was a long time ago. I was planning on actually addressing that fact today, and that was my initial stab at trying to, get something done. And I said, where do we start explaining this truth, this reality, where we are today and understanding it? Well, if we say that a constitution's good, okay, and I'm willing to go there, a limitation on the framework of laws and this and that, and I know we've talked about natural law and anarchy and all other stuff in the past, but if we go back to a constitution, the Texas Constitution or the Constitution of the United States, you have to adhere to it, to uphold it. The United States of America, they became a corporation in the 1800s. Well, no, I'm not going to tell the story. I'm going to leave that story for somebody else on a later day. But at one time, they decided that corporations were people, and then they decided that all people were corporations. I have a couple angles to go on. Last week, Chris out of Vegas was on, right? He was kind of like, almost my guest for her co-host or some dang thing like that the entire 2 hours. And it was rather fun. I enjoyed it a lot. But, in that, he pointed out that a lot of the questions that I ask and that I need answers to can be answered by Republic Broadcasting. RepublicBroadcasting.org is how you get there on the internet. You can point your satellite dish up to the sky and, pull down a feed from Galaxy 19. It's been around for a long time. John Statmiller and the crew, Sam, my board op, faithfully, work all the knobs and dials and the switches, right? Try to keep everything going. And there's a lot of hosts. I believe that John Statmiller has about 32 hosts that cover, hours and hours of talk on lots of subjects. And so when I was trying to pin down, who should talk to this? I decided that, what voice I really liked was Farron Shope. He has a show on Saturday nights called thealternativemedia.com or The Alternative Media. He's actually thealternativemedia.org, I believe, is his website. And he currently plays at 9 o'clock Texas time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and Pacific time. Sorry, guys, do the math. I don't feel like it. But, it's a great show. You should check it out, even though I couldn't get him on. Turns out that, he has a lot of commitments on Sunday, so he bowed out. But, the universe, when I sit there and I try to make a plan and try to line up guests and hosts, and I could have had Joe Bob Fallon on, all I had to do is make another call and say, hey, man, come on, let's talk. But I didn't. Too busy, right? Lost a couple days and just had to try to catch up with the world. But when I woke up, it felt like I was out for, a week or a month, right? I didn't know any concept of time. And the first thing that I see, it might not have been the first thing, but one of the things that I saw was this little mini SUV. Now, this mini SUV, it was, cruising along, and it had a blue stripe down the middle of the back window. A lot of cars here in Texas are painted with black windshields, and so I'm like going, man, that looks like the thin blue line. And I go, I wonder what the heck's up with that. Hey, I'm not really taking callers right now. It's just not, we don't have time. We're going to deal with some things here. But I would like to know, is there a big push towards the thin blue line? If you have any information specific to this, 1-800-313-9443. Once again, 1-800-313-9443. Why are people putting blue stripes in the middle of their back windows and, such? I know it's something to do with the thin blue line. I've seen it. It's amplifying. It's trending. Oh, my God. When it starts trending, I head for my friend, the toilet. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to be talking a little bit about this thin blue line because it's interesting. It lets you know a little bit more of where I come from, and what better way to find out where I come from is, I need to find out where I come from. I've been broadcasting since, I guess it was 2011, somewhere in there, various platforms. And I think at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to go ahead and play you a little bit of the clip on a show that I had, and I'll tell you more about it. Hey, let's go through the break, and we got a little short segment, and then we'll get right into the Thin Blue Line, folks. Hang in there.
This is a public announcement. Be ready to copy down a website address at the end of this message. Friends, you've heard our commercial talking about land in New Mexico for $350 down and $99 a month, and we really appreciate your response. But land parcels are getting scarce. Current prices are already going up, and the commercial message you're hearing now could be pulled at any time. So you should act quickly. Our company acquired this development at a great price, and we're able to sell parcels to you at an unheard of $350 down and $99 a month. And at the end of only 1 year, you own it. Purchase via PayPal at landho.tv, LANDHO.tv. And this isn't a swampland deal, folks. This is your chance to own a piece of our great nation in the foothills of a beautiful mountain range. A perfect place to camp anytime or have as an emergency retreat for your family for generations to come. And at $350 down and only $99 a month, it's a no-brainer. Land as a gift or a hedge against economic disaster. Visit landho.tv, LANDHO.tv right now.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Okay, here we go again. Republic of Texas Radio, that you're listening to, by the way. And I'm Steve O'Brien. And I don't know if you're listening to me, but if you're out there, hey, thank you for, well, being here with me. It's Sunday morning. What are we? September 27th. Time just seems to fly. We'll talk more about the Thin Blue Line and my inability to understand where the roots of people putting on painter's tape in the middle of their back windshield is. If you have any information about why people put painter's tape, along the back of their windshields that makes it look like the Thin Blue Line, please give me a call. I'm only taking callers to answer this one question, 800-313-9443. And if you call in, I don't have any kind of prizes or anything, but I would like to know, is this because the Blue Lives Matter stuff or something like that, or Glenn Beckon or something like that said, let's all put black or blue painter's tape in the middle of our back windows to do what? I don't know. Let's talk about Texas. Hold on, guys. So, where do we sit today? Well, let's start with the Texas Nationals. Texas Nationals, when we initially started this, folks, the Texas Nationals were pushing some 100 and something odd days, to get the vote out. They need 75,000 signatures to, get Texas independence put on the ballot. The Texas Nationals can be, looked up over at textnet.org. And, well, they're a group that's assembled to mainly, use the system to get out of the system. What do you think about that? I don't know. I know what I think about it, but that doesn't matter. What matters is they're talking to people. They're talking to a lot of people. They're telling them that, well, Texas independence is important. They're focused. They're one of those wheels I was talking about, by the way. When the wheels fall off, there's a funny thing that happens. Well, slowly a wheel builds may or may not build an entire car, an entire vessel, right, or transport, or whatever you want to call it, and it becomes a fully operating and functioning entity. The Texas National is one of those things, having touch points within, all sorts of places within the spectrum of Texas independence. They have 65 days, 15 hours, 34 minutes, and at this moment, 5 seconds to get their, ballots in. Again, we don't have any information. They haven't been updating their website. They were kind of busy doing that for a while, but that kind of dropped off. Kind of curious. As for the Republic of Texas is pretty much going to be, I don't know what's going on in the background besides the trial of Susie Kamek, and I'll talk about that more here in the next hour, or perhaps, in the coming few minutes. I don't know. I'll fit it in there. But one thing that you should know is that the Republic of Texas meetings happen on the second Saturday of every month. This time it will be Saturday, October 10th. And that will take place in Lake Jackson, Texas. It'll be at the Civic Center. That is at 333 Highway 33. Oh, my God. Highway 332 East. Man, that's hard to put my mouth around. I don't want to do that. Forget it. But anyways, Lake Jackson, the meeting starts at 9:30. It's a long ways. You guys down south near Houston, that's where you should go. Go there. It's kind of a governmental organization. It's kind of, you gotta experience it. I tell you, folks. We're figuring out transportation. Dr. David Krupa has been kind enough to say that, he can help facilitate the trip. And we're not sure exactly how this is going to play out. Normally, the Republic of Texas is consistent, and they put the meetings 4 hours away from my house. And this time they've exceeded that, and they're inconsistent. Now we're going to have to travel like 6+ to get to Lake Jackson. But I'm going to go because there's some interesting stuff that's going on, and it is important. It's a government organization. This is where Congress comes together, the House and the Senate, and they do business. And what kind of business is going on right now? Well, we'll get into that later. Hey, let's go round the break. I'll be right back. I'm Steve OBrien. You're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio here on Republic Broadcasting.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Recent events have shown just how vulnerable we are to deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. These diseases are all caused by infectious pathogens that often get the upper hand on conventional medical treatments. Now more than ever, there's a great need for a product that will help protect us. Look no further. Supernatural Silver can provide immune system support to help fight off these deadly pathogens. Supernatural Silver is a new and vastly improved type of silver solution that's safe and extremely effective against 143 types of bacteria, both forms of viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver can be taken orally or used topically and can be used in a nebulizer or vaporizer for inhalation. With over 180 scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions, Supernatural Silver is a powerful weapon against disease. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give you and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
There are many water filters to choose from, but there is only one system that is consistently customer rated 5 stars as the #1 system for effective filtration of fluoride, radiation, drug residues, heavy metals, a wide range of radioisotopes, and more. Introducing the Pure Effect Ultra, the next generation water filter that also raises alkaline pH, improves antioxidant potential, and has advanced anti-radiation technology, all while using no electricity. Sold worldwide, it provides virtually instant clean water on demand. It is not made in China, and the shipping is free to all 50 states. Buy your Pure Effect Ultra today by visiting pureeffectfilters.com. or call 888-891-4821. Again, that's 888-891-4821. Or visit pureeffectfilters.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here is what people are saying.
Heart problems were in my family, and I did notice these chest pains occasionally. I decided to try it, and I don't think I'm going to stop for quite a while. Nothing has worked as well as this product has promised to. I've taken, supplements and that sort of thing, and never really noticed a difference.
Well, I turned 60, and when I went into the doctor to get my reports, the lady at the desk, she looked at it, and she says, wow. I says, what's that say? So she came back and looked at my last check, and she says, well, you've gone down half on your cholesterol. So she says, I guess don't do a thing, only what you're doing right now.
To get your Extendovite, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
Okay, we're back. And it's, September 27th. You're listening to the Republic of Texas radio show. I was just talking about the Texas Nationals and their push to getting, Texas independence on the ballot. You go guys. You tell people Texas needs to be free. You do it however you want to do it, and just do it. Do it. Whatever you want to do. Free Texas. It's important. we were also talking about wheels coming off, right? And so let's do that real quick. So the Texas Nationals was cruising along one day, and then the wheels came off, and off came Freedom, Texas. Well, there was kind of a little thing that happened in there. I'm not too sure exactly all the details. I try not to get into the details, but the Freedom, Texas folks really were, partially because the wheels came off, and then that wheel started rolling, and it reformed itself into something called Freedom, Texas. Now, you got to watch your wheels when you're driving along, because, you can forget to tighten the lug nuts. You can over-tighten the lug nuts and the wheels will come off. You can start calling people lug nuts and then your wheels will come off too. Anyways, Freedom, Texas, well, they came off of one of those when the wheels come off situation. Texas Nationals is better for it. So is Freedom, Texas. Oh, Texas independence is so much better having Freedom, Texas out there. You can find Freedom, Texas at freedomtexas.org. They're a, very fast-moving shaker group. Interesting. I like talking to them. I can see their actions. They're very dynamic. You can go to their meetings. There's a couple meetings this next month. October kind of looks a little bit shy for them, but then we haven't even got there, right? We've still got 3 days left, and they're still dealing with this month. Next month, and you can just jot this down if you care. Cleburne, Texas, they do this thing over at the Cleburne Conference Center, and that happens on the first Tuesday of each month. It's a 7 o'clock type thingy. So you can go there and then just put that on your calendar, or go over to freedomtexas.org, and you can look at the events thing and you'll find out exactly when something's coming up. They look quiet, like I say, folks, so hold on, because when it's quiet, there's something coming. Also, they have this thing, man, Texas is funny with its names, right? Alligator Gar and all this other stuff. But this is called Waxahachie, Texas. I wonder when I'm going to Waxahachie, Texas, because I seem to show up all over the place in Texas, and it's kind of funny. The Waxahachie, Texas, it meets every third Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. Now, that's, at the Ryan's Restaurant, 1400 North Highway 77. There's also one in Plano, Texas. That's pretty plain Jane name, huh? Yeah, I know it is Dallas, but you guys will, whatever. Third Monday of each month in Plano, Texas. They meet over at the IHOP restaurant. Hey, okay, I'm going to get into the Thin Blue Line really quick, but I'm going to jump online and see what I got two people waiting on hold. First come, first serve. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Chris has to say. Hey, Chris, are you here calling to tell me about the Thin Blue Line?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I am. And then if you don't mind, maybe we can let the other guy play through and see what he has to say, and I'll hang on in the background, and maybe I'll have something else to add.
Okay, we'll go by your rules. Well, tell me, what is the Thin Blue Line? No, I like it. Let's go.
Let me qualify this, because it's a little bit of a story. My mom used to live down in Houston, Texas, and worked out the Woodlands, worked for Wine Garden grocery store, and she was in another age and time, and back in the late 50s, there was a TV series called Dobie Gillis Show, and they had a precursor to the hippies, what we called the beatnik craze, and his name was Maynard G. Krebs. And so there was a story about the Thin Blue Line that kind of grew out of that series, and the story was that this hippie had rented this apartment in this high-rise, and moved in, and it got to being a bit of an issue. There were flies and stuff getting around the door, and so the neighbors started complaining. They went in to tell the super of the building that it was getting to be an issue, and he went up and knocked on the door, and no answer. And so they went along for a little while, and it started to smell a little in the hallway, and they went and got him again, and went and the guy answered, and he said, well, you got to get out of hand here. This place is starting to reek. There's flies and stuff together, and you got to do something to pimp your act. And, oh, yeah, man, sure thing. So he goes away, and when later on, it was starting to get some trash out in the hall, and flies were getting worse. Come back and, look, this is your last notice. If you don't get this place cleaned up, I'm going to kick you out of this building. And that's the last straw. So a couple of days went by, and come back, and super came back to inspect, and come up to the door, and well, he was blown away. The door was stark radiant white. It had a thin blue line painted down it. And the whole trash was gone, and the flies were gone, and it didn't smell bad. And he knocked on the door. The guy opened the door, and the super was amazed. This whole place was sparkling white, and a thin line went all the way from the door down the room to the back of the house. And he says, "Man, this is amazing." The super says, what is this? He says, I've just never seen a transformation like that. He says, "Welcome, Dad, to the sanitary pad."
Okay. I'm gonna have to process that one.
So you gotta qualify who is putting the thin blue line on the card and making a clear determination as to what any implied, inferred, or advertised intents may be. Why don't you check your other caller and let's see what he's got to say?
Okay, well, hang in there, Chris. Hey, Sovereign Man from Freedom Land, you there, man?
Oh, my buddy.
Let's play.
Chris. Hey, Steve-O.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Good. I like that.
Yeah,
So
I've done a little research while you guys were, conversating.
Okay.
It says that September 19th was International Law Enforcement Appreciation Day.
Ah.
And it says, we do have some good police officers here in the city of Longview. I'm just reading something off a fascist book. And it says, show them some support by holding up the thin blue line. Simply place a line of blue painter's tape across the back of windshield of your vehicle. Kudos to the blue liners. All the blue lines that I've seen traveling along the city streets. And I think this came from England because it's got like a crown thing on it. But that's what it is. The site that I went to on Fascist Book was All Lives Matter.
Okay. I think you hit the nail on the head, man. That's perfect timing. The 19th, that comes out. The 20th, I get sick. And around the 22nd, I freak out because I see all these blue lines everywhere. You answered the question.
Yeah. Now, if you see a square on the back of a vehicle that has a black line, a blue line, and a black line, that means that vehicle either belongs to somebody that is law enforcement or is associated with law enforcement. Just give you a heads up.
Or a fanboy of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty crazy. Hey, I'm going to go on to see what I think about it. I've got a clip I made a few years ago, and I want to review it, see what I said, see if I still stand on my words. You have any closing remarks, Chris?
Well, as a matter of fact, it would be worthy of note that the UN blue color is pretty preeminent these days for those who want to promote the globalist agenda. And there's also a color in what we might term the Zionist influences called Tazlit blue, T-A-Z-L-I-T. And it had to do with the little blue strings they tied to their white garments to supposedly relate themselves and keep in the mindset of something that they term to be a god. So if you don't mind me hanging back, I have some commentary to your first set of comments after you get through playing your clip, if that works for you.
Okay, that's great. Hey, Sovereign Man, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it. You're the winner. I'm going to send... I don't have a prize for you, man, but I do appreciate it. Okay. Hey, Sam, let's go ahead and roll clip number 1 and find out what I think about, this is an old show, folks, and this comes from 2012. It was a show that I produced only for law enforcement. It didn't have any other guests invited to hear the show, and it was rather popular on show night. I guess I, emailed a whole bunch of chiefs of police and, every law enforcement that I had contact with, and I said, hey, tell me about the Thin Blue Line, folks, because I want to hear about it. And, we're going to play the first hour, which is a little bit of a monologue and me talking about what the Thin Blue Line was and was to me. I think that's what I did, because it's been a while since I've actually heard it. The second hour I have, we'll get to the second hour when I get to the second hour. Hey, Sam, if you can hear me, go ahead and spin that thing. Let's get going.
Go ahead and fill us in on what's happening in West Virginia.
Okay, so what we did was we followed the protocol of true law, not statutory, not constitutional, true law.
Uh-oh, hang in there. I think we got some.
That requires us to give notice.
Error. Well, what was that? Did I send you the wrong thing there, Sam? Because that sure wasn't me and wasn't one of my shows. Well, let's see. Anyways, hey, Chris, what you wanted to fill in a little bit?
That was Tom Deegan that you had down there in West Virginia talking about the natural law. But more importantly, when you started your conversation, you brought up a really great point and maybe didn't cognize it quite as importantly as you should have, and that is that all things start at the beginning. Every criminal investigation, every historical investigation, you have to go back to the beginning to determine what happened since then, to reverse engineer and to clearly understand the implications of all the things that have transponded throughout the transformational state, if you will.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm also trying to do some other things and get this.
That's okay. Playing. Well, so if we look into how America, the country, acquires lands, there's only two methodologies. One is by treaty. That is a contract between international sovereign nations and an international law of contracts and sovereigns. Vitale's Law of Nations rules supreme in that world, and the right to self-determination and the right for sovereign nations to self-determine and contract between willing participants. The other methodology is war prize. The only lands that America acquired by war prize that I know of was Hawaii and maybe some of the initial, if you think we won the war, colonies. But the treaty law is one of the things that are listed as supreme law of the land in the Constitution, Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2. And that is testified to in two cases. One of them is Summa Corporation versus the State of California, a.k.a. Nolan versus the California Coastal Tidewaters Commission. And the other one is... let's see, it's a Georgia case, and I should be able to tell you that one.
Hang on there, Chris.
Chisholm versus Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, I understand where you're going right now, but I would like to do this at a later date, and actually I have some parameters. Maybe you want to do that little chunk for me. I was thinking about getting Farron Shope, but his Sundays are just like gone. But I want to talk a little bit about, that time, right? Maybe not, I don't know how much detail, but the time of the, Texas independence, and then Texas going into the Union, and then the war for independence, and then we go forward to corporations becoming, people, and then we got people turning into corporations, and then we're here, right? And so it's a simple little thing that we need to put some numbers to that a lot of people don't understand. And at this point, I've got like a selective audience that's here. I've got the Republic Broadcasting audience. I have an audience of people that are listening for Texas independence. And currently I have law enforcement and a lot of different other, worker bees that are sitting there doing their job and downloading this. And a lot of them, when I go into these things, they start having fun with it. They say, what is Steve talking about today? And then they'll email the link around the office, and all my stats and the counters will go off, and I can tell where they're coming from. And it's nice because we have a time that we can teach, right? We can show, and it's important to frame it the right way. You know, the whole free man on the land thing seems kind of absurd. But I think that, you know, we need to tell the story first. And I wasn't prepared. Well, actually, I was prepared to tell the story. But how that story, I want to present her. Do you want to do that, Chris?
For another day. Well, yeah. And the other thing that you mentioned was that there were two opportunities. You said that somebody could tighten the lug nuts or not tighten the lug nuts. There's a third option. Somebody could actually loosen the lug nuts on your cart before you take off without your knowledge. That's a little dangerous proposition.
It sure is, but a car can survive on three wheels to a certain extent. And, you know, the strange thing about this analogy, the one that I'm trying to put together, is the wheels fly off the cart of many organizations. Like you say, somebody can loosen them lug nuts. But then that wheel, in this analogy, can miraculously grow into something beautiful, something special, right? And increase and amplify. So when you're looking, you know, I do believe that there's other precedent for that, right? I think they say that killing somebody makes them into a martyr, right? It's kind of similar, no?
Absolutely. In fact, there are people that have done that on purpose, I think.
Well, there we go back to Richard McLaren in 1994, where they demonized Richard McLaren in the name the Republic of Texas. The Republic of Texas as it exists today bears little resemblance to the Republic of Texas that Richard McLaren reopened. But during that time, we had what? 94, Chris, what was going on in the world?
Oh, Jiminy Christmas, 94.
I believe we were doing Waco.
Yes, the Waco, the Clinton and Janet Reno false flag scenario, where they burned up children and women and tried to blame it on them. Yeah. Of course, they set them up, and they had plenty of opportunities to say that.
Let me give you a call offline here. Hey, Chris, I'll call you offline. I'm going to try to play my... Okay, hang in there, man. We'll figure this one out. Republic of Texas Radio.
Your money. What is it worth today? A $100 bill in 1913 is worth only $2 today. So now your money is just about worthless, and the Fed will continue printing more and more of it. But what if you could turn it around, $1 at a time, and make your money worth more than it is now? How? By acquiring gold before your paper money is totally worthless. But how can you afford gold at today's prices? By buying it 1 gram at a time. And this is so important because gold is the future. For as little as $65, you can begin trading your almost worthless currency for something real, something you can hold. Carat bars, which keep their value, can be stored securely, and are easily accessible, just like a savings account. But a savings account backed by your gold. Carat Bars International, a savings account you can count on. For more information, please click on the Carat Bars banner ad at republicbroadcasting.org. Again, that's the Carat Bars banner ad at republicbroadcasting.org. And start saving now.
Herbal Healer Spring Sale. 500 parts per million colloidal silver. All sizes. COQ10 with hawthorn. Glucosamine chondroitin. Sea cucumber. Colloidal minerals. Superfam and Super Male Plaques. Colon Enhancer. Our top-selling liquid. Cal Mag Vitamin D. MSM Sulfur Capsules. And Elderberry Power Capsules. We also offer certificate correspondence courses in natural medicine. Free memberships and free online newsletters also available at herbalhealer.com. Herbal Healer has been serving the natural medicine industry for 25 years. This is a company you can count on. Visit herbalhealer.com today. herbalhealer.com. That's herbalhealer.com.
Hi, my name is David Merlin from takefromcaesar.us. Income is defined in the tax code. All property is a cost, including labor, according to statute. You're deprived of the provisions of Section 83 whenever you pay an income tax on your compensation. According to Section 83, only the excess over the amount paid is gross income. The government can't so much as provide an interpretation of Section 83 of its own. Get your paradigm shift and understanding today at takefromcaesar.us.
Nice shooting. Hey, that's a sweet AK-47 chest rig. Is that multicam?
Yep, got it from StrikeHardGear.com.
Strike what?
StrikeHardGear.com.
Set your sights on StrikeHardGear.com. Tough, tactical gear for your Soviet-style weapon that's made in the USA. Affordable, plus a no-questions-asked 30-day money-back guarantee and lifetime replacement warranty. StrikeHardGear.com. Go ahead. Pull the trigger.
Republic of Texas Radio. Well, I'm Steve O'Brien, and we were just talking a little bit about all sorts of stuff in Texas independence, and I think that the theme for the day is the thin blue line, and I'm not too sure exactly how this fits in. But you got to watch the waves of the ocean and, what's there. And that's what's there right now for me. After waking up and seeing the thin blue line, it's kind of in my head. And I've seen a lot more of this painter's tape on the back of, vehicles. And it's good to know that, Sovereign Man from Freedom Land, he called in and told me exactly where it came from. It came from Facebook. A little bit of a viral publicity stunt for law enforcement to say that we are the thin blue line. We stand between the black and the black. Well, what do you mean? You stand between the black and the black. Okay. Anyways, I have a clip that I tried to play, and this is how this works, too. There was a little bit of a misfire, and I want to be sensitive to errors and problems and so forth, and at the top of the hour, after we get through the next break, we're going to go ahead and take another shot at that. If it doesn't work, then you know what? Guys, it's a bellwether, and it's telling me, do not go there. And I'm good with that. We'll take a course correction. But what really inspired me to deal with this is, I woke up. Well, partially, this whole thing, the thin blue line, came out of a situation that kind of raised its head right when I, woke up and stopped hugging the toilet. I got a call from a good friend of mine out in Crowley, Texas. His name is Chuck Smith, and Chuck said, "Well, hey, you haven't sent me that phone number, the guy that doesn't like colloidal silver." And I go, "Oh yeah." He says, "Well, that's the second time you haven't done what you said." And I go, "Wow, I sure hope you're wrong, Chuck." And he says, "Well, this time and that time," and sure enough, he was right. And man, gotta watch your commitments, folks. At least I gotta watch my commitments, so I'll keep an eye on that. But anyways, Chuck Smith wanted to talk to. Well, I had originally called Chuck Smith, and my friend Dr. David Krupa on his show, the Natural Health Hour. You can get that over at rednationradio.com, and just click on Natural Health Hour. You can also get it on Spreaker. That's how I get it. I can't seem to get it any other way. And I was listening to him talk about how he likes colloidal silver for topical use and this and that, and he's never seen any case studies that say that works and works for internal use. Well, I can help you out there. I'll put you in touch with Chuck, and Chuck will talk to Dr. David Krupa, and they'll have a little civil conversation, share some facts, and see if we actually learn anything. Good plan, Steve. Sometimes the world doesn't do what you want it to do. I went ahead and I gave Chuck's number to Doc, and Doc and Chuck talk, and Doc and Chuck, well, I don't know exactly what happened, but it sounded like that it wasn't one of those positive conversations, because Chuck's understanding of colloidal silver was totally different than Doc's understanding. Hey, top of the hour, we'll be right back. I'll finish the story, and I'll give you a little other story before we get into the thin blue line yet once again. Or maybe we won't. Republic of Texas Radio.
Liberty is not free. Its costs are innumerable. Without monetary funding, the valiant efforts of freedom-loving Americans become diminished or outright defeated. We present a solution, the Give Me Liberty Fund. The plan is quite simple. Invite individual Americans to contribute less than $1 a day. These monetary funds are used to promote Liberty media, organizations, events, candidates, movements, and speakers. In the spirit of transparency, all expenditures are published. Patriotic business owners provide discounted products and services to Give Me Liberty Fund members. Our greatest strength is in numbers. Go to GiveMeLibertyFund.com and become part of the solution today. GiveMeLibertyFund.com. Participate in the peaceful restoration of the greatest and freest country in the world.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
Okay, so we'll cut this short. Republic of Texas Radio. And, you know, the music sometimes gets in the way. Don't let it get in the way from you or whatever, guys. Hey, so we're talking about Texas, Republic of Texas, all the Republic of Texas stuff, and what Steve sees in Texas, occupied Texas, and what he's seen this week, or I've seen. I'll do the first person. So what I have seen is a blue line on the back of these vehicles, and I'm kind of going, where the heck did that come from? I was telling you a little bit about an argument that Chuck Smith and Dr. David Krupa got in on colloidal silver. And it reminds me of an argument that Chuck Smith and Frankie Nieto, you remember Frankie Nieto from, well, he hosted this thing, and I drag him on every once in a while. Him and I have been, well, broadcasting together for a little bit of time now. And we used to do a show on Chuck Smith's, one of his platforms. And one day Chuck Smith got an exception and, you know, said, Frankie, he's too immature, black, 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 black. Give me his phone number. I'm going to fire him. I said, dude, okay, you can fire him, but it's my responsibility. You can't do that. I brought him on. I'm letting him go. So I went ahead and I called Frankie and I said, yada, yada, yada. Chuck says, da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, sorry, got to let you go, Frankie. And then, well, he goes, I understand, blah, 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 blah. Here's Chuck's number if you want to talk to him. Now, why it doesn't seem pointful. So Frankie, you know, walked on in our show that we were doing. It was called Ethics and Accountability. We just let it go. Just let it go. Bye. You know, I said, I can't do this show without Frankie. I'll do something else and something like that. And then I had a broadcast emergency where you just got to talk. And so I tapped this guy on the back, right? You know, his name's Rick Reinierson. He is or was a active serving pilot in the U.S. Air Force. He'd fly these dang things around, move around the whole country, and did all sorts of stuff. He actually has a group, and it's called Veterans Against Police Abuse. Veterans for VAPA. Veterans Against Police Abuse. And basically what they're saying is, be nice. police, right? And well, the police aren't really nice to you, and we'll get into that. Hey, we're going to try to roll this clip. This is going to be me, and we're going to see what I say about the thin blue line. See if that resonates with me still. We'll give it a few minutes of runtime, and I'll cut it off. Hang in there. Hey, Sam, let's try it round 2.
Well, hello. You know, one of the things that we wanted to cover was the thin blue line. Now, what does that actually mean? Historically speaking, the thin blue line was referred to as a line. Now, if I paint you a picture of this line, it would be a rectangle or a flag, as it were, and a line would run right down the middle on the long part of the rectangle, and there would be black on the top and black on the bottom. The blue part was meant to represent law enforcement agencies and their importance. Well, not their importance, and how they separated one side of the black and the other side of the black. Now, one side of the black were nefarious individuals, for the lack of better terms, people that are outside the laws. And the blue line would represent the police standing in between the general public, or they like to refer to them as citizens. Well, the crazy part about it, as I started going down that trail, was the thought of, man, has that line remained blue? Been following the Austin Peaceful Streets project for a while now and watching them go forward. They've started their own server, so they're uploading videos and cataloging stuff, and they continue to hold meetings on, tactics and strategies. We had a new information server come online, or at least come visible to us. Currently, the Austin Peaceful Streets uses the Lone Star Liberty Bell. Well, the Lone Star Liberty Bell, it has its shortcomings, and of course, it's a second-generation system. Well, the new one has a little bit more promise, or, well, we don't know. So we're looking at it, and it's something that CopWatch has put up. Well, the truth of the matter is, no matter what we think about it, things aren't going to change. People are going to start filming more and more encounters with police. And if you're in Austin and you run into the police, there's a good chance that you'll come into contact with a Peaceful Streets member who will sit there and point their camera at the situation and record a neutral point of view.
Okay, Sam.
Well, it's nice.
Let's barge in there and interrupt Steve, and, well, I'll just take the mic back from me. So I guess I started talking a little bit more about Peaceful Streets and not about the thin blue line, and I know I did get into the thin blue line quite a bit. I guess the Peaceful Streets was really responsible for, well, a lot of that angst. They brought a lot of exposure to, well, nefarious activities of police officers. Maybe they don't want to call them nefarious, but they are, taking away people's cameras, beating on people, things like that. One of my problems that I had with the Peaceful Streets project is they really, when we talk about police accountability, and I know I'm kind of deviating a little bit from the thin blue line, we got to have the good and the bad. We can't just catalog all the bad and not have the good there too. And I know, and see, that's why the analogy of a thin blue line just does not work. Because you're not all blue, are you? You're various shades of blue, right? Some of them leaning towards black, and then black on one side, black on the other means that there's a balance of, well, bad people are shaded, well, if we want to call them bad people, because they are people with a different polarity, right? They don't think that it's wrong to create violence on people or steal things or stuff like that. When I call them nefarious, and that's a term of polarization. For me, because to them, it doesn't matter if they take your stuff. And allegedly, these people called law enforcement, the blue line, they're going to sit there and protect us. Well, back in the day, I learned that lesson that wasn't going to happen and how important that was when they, had a citywide push to get all the bicycles registered. And we got this little sticker on our bicycle. And, that way, if your bicycle ever gets stolen, you can find it. Well, my bicycle got stolen. And, well, they didn't call me. And I went down to the police department, and I'm a little kid, and I think probably somewhere around 7 or 10 years old, trying to find my bicycle. And I'm looking for my bicycle. I registered it. Oh, well, what's the number? Oh, I don't know. Okay. So I go back to the fire department and try to find my number, and turns out they don't even track that number. They didn't. And so I'm like, error? What's the use in registering your bicycle? And then the police told me, since I couldn't find that number, they said, we have a whole bunch of bicycles, which we have found, and you can go look for it, and, we'll see if we find yours. And so you go in the back, and there's piles and piles of bicycles just everywhere without owners that they've been seized because they were stolen. But how do you know they were stolen if nobody claims the dang things? Well, I guess you can say that they were stolen because they were taken by the police department and put into a big pile. No matter what, I guess we can classify them as stolen. But if you can't find who you stole it from, the person that owns that property, where's the crime, right? What's the point in registering it if they won't expel a lot of energy? And I'm digressing, and I really do apologize, folks, to a certain extent, because this is the Republic of Texas radio show, and I do want to be talking a lot about Texas, but the spirit's in me to stay on this subject because this is my Texas today. This is life in occupied Texas. This is a land that just imprisons so many people. We have so many laws, so many. And the people in the courtrooms are tasked, and, all these clerks and all these just average people. I had to go into the Kirk County clerk's office last week. I made 2 phone calls to Kirk County, and I said, hey, my name's Steve OBrien, and I'm trying to get access to information on a case, and I was given a URL, and I can go over there, and I can see all the information, but then it tells me that I can't actually access it. Can you please give me a call back? Well, of course, they didn't return calls. One would think that they were like some kind of IT support desk, right? They never call you back. So, okay, that's fine. So I'll spend my time and my money, and I'll drive all the way out to Kerrville, Texas. I live in Fredericksburg, and so it's not that far, 25, 30 minutes to get there, 25, 30 minutes to get back. 30 minutes or so in the ringer. I'll go over there, talk to the clerk. How do I do this and this and this? Oh, you're in the wrong clerk's office. You're not the county clerk. You have to go down to the city, blah, 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 clerk. Okay, go down there. And I swear, folks, this place looked a lot like, oh, God, what is the name of that movie? Brazil? You walk into Brazil, and they got desks everywhere and people sitting there looking at screens, right? Rectangles, all these monitors everywhere. And you could tell the important person in the room because they had 2 big old rectangles in front of them. And I say to my person that's staring into his rectangle, I say, excuse me. And he says, yes. I went to this website, and I did enter my case number, hit click, and then it says that I don't have access to your records. And he says, that's interesting. So I can access these records, correct? They're public information. He says, yes. And I said, upstairs, they said that I can actually access these information on the private terminal. And do you guys have private terminals? I don't know, says the gentleman. He stares back at his rectangle, and he clicks a few times, and he says, well, I don't know. We do have computers over there that are for public use, and you're more than welcome to use them, but you can go talk to this lady over here. She has a couple rectangles, big rectangles, or they call them computer monitors. And ask her, she'd know more about it. And so I went over there and I, said, hey, so I need to access some records. Checked out on the internet and I couldn't access it. It says your user doesn't have permissions to get it. Am I or am I not allowed to view this documentation? She says, yes, you're allowed to view this documentation. You can print it out. You can do this and that. Can I do that over on those terminals? I don't know. Hey, fair enough. I love that answer. Well, I guess I'm going to go try. And I walked over to the terminals and same dang problem. Go in there and I put in the case number, blah, 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 blah. Hit the button and what happens? Oh, there you go. Here's the records. This record exists and you don't have any rights to the record. Okay, so now I'm going round and round in circles, and like Chris out of Las Vegas to say, they're just throwing me through the loops. They're processing me, trying to beat me down, and they did for a certain extent. How much time have they made me waste on, trying to procure the records for the Susie Kamek trial? Well, now they're throwing dollars into it, and, sure, I bet you I could fight past the dollar amount. And it's really important to me currently to get that information, and I'm not going to have it for when I want it. I'm supposed to be on the Doc Green show over at Raging Elephant Radio tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later if I have a chance. But we needed to review a lot of those documents over there because he's kind of like a fact monster, and I'm right next to Kerrville, and I have the ability to actually go in there and procure that information. But it turns out that I can't actually view them unless I'm viewing them with, the initial guy that I walk through the door and I talk to him and I say, hi, sir, this is Steve. Can I look at this case? And then we'll sit there and stare at the case. But I can buy them from him. They're $1 a copy. And I went through and I looked at all those things, and, well, it was 90 some odd dollars to get these documents when I was there. And I've noticed, recently they've added a few dollars onto there. And so maybe I'm going to be above $100, man. And I've just spent so much time, so much money on this case. Every time we've gone through 3-4 pre-trials, each time I lose a whole day's worth of work. I got to push things back. I have gas, I have this expense, and, quite frankly, I went out and I put a call out to, I know my people, and said, I need funding for Susie Kamek's trial records, and I think everybody's suffering from a little bit of shock from being hammered or all that begging. How many times can somebody say, hey, I need money, and then they look back at you and says, so do I. It's just the way of the world. Well, that's what's going on. Raging Elephant Radio, that's an interesting place. I don't know if you've been there yet. RagingElephantRadio.com. It's not a satellite thing. It's a lot different than Republic Broadcasting. It's only about Texas. Now, the broadcasters there just talk about all these stories that begin and end in Texas. They don't talk about anything else. And Doc Green, he was on this show early on. I think he was one of my first shows here on Republic Broadcasting. And, well, he was subpoenaed for I don't know who the heck knows why he was subpoenaed. And actually, I have a little bit of an idea. He had an interesting show with both Susie Kamek and Dr. Krupa, and where they talked about common law. And they talked about free man on the land type principles and this and this and that. And so he has a lot of information, and they're probably going to try to twist his words. The system, when you're sitting there, when it's coming down on you, when the thing behind the thin blue line, what is that? Right? So the thin blue line in Susie's case, what did it do? It said, hey, Susie, you've been simulating a legal process. And then they charged her with 3 counts of statute 32.48 bracket E. It's a Class A misdemeanor, and we're going to charge you an awful lot if you don't just sign a piece of paper and walk on, girl, because you are guilty, period. And if you don't want to say you're guilty, you can have a trial. You can have that little trial. That's great. Not a problem. You can have a jury trial, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time, and it's going to cost you money. Last week, what was it? I think I said that Susie Kamek had a bill of, she had $13 charges and a couple $100, just for doing stuff and filing paperwork. Now she's up to like $400 that she owes the city and, or city, state, whatever. They're unleashing, and they've spent like tons and tons of money on this case. They've got to have done a couple 100,000 by now. They did a multi-jurisdictional raid in February 14th, but it doesn't matter about the money, right? Doesn't matter. It's the process. It's for the cause. It's for the children. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They think they're right. And, I don't know. To various degrees, they don't even see what's going on. The Susie Kamek case was all really about a divorce. It was about forgery. It was about fraud. Now, Susie did not take out a mortgage. Okay, but that doesn't matter because her husband did at the time. He forged her signature. Okay, that doesn't matter because the bank still needs its money. How is this fair? How is this legal? How is this defined constitutional? How is this anything? My God, what do we live in? So I guess the thin blue line.
Recent events have shown just how vulnerable we are to deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. These diseases are all caused by infectious pathogens that often get the upper hand on conventional medical treatments. Now more than ever, there's a great need for a product that will help protect us. Look no further. Supernatural Silver can provide immune system support to help fight off these deadly pathogens. Supernatural Silver is a new and vastly improved type of silver solution that's safe and extremely effective against 143 types of bacteria, both forms of viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver can be taken orally or used topically and can be used in a nebulizer or vaporizer for inhalation. With over 180 scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions, Supernatural Silver is a powerful weapon against disease. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give you and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
There are many water filters to choose from, but there is only one system that is consistently customer rated 5 stars as the #1 system for effective filtration of fluoride, radiation, drug residues, heavy metals, a wide range of radioisotopes, and more. Introducing the Pure Effect Ultra, the next generation water filter that also raises alkaline pH, improves antioxidant potential, and has advanced anti-radiation technology, all while using no electricity. Sold worldwide, it provides virtually instant clean water on demand. It is not made in China, and the shipping is free to all 50 states. Buy your Pure Effect Ultra today by visiting pureeffectfilters.com. or call 888-891-4821. Again, that's 888-891-4821. Or visit pureeffectfilters.com.
Hi, my name is David Merlin from takefromcaesar.us. Income is defined in the tax code. All property is a cost, including labor, according to statute. You're deprived of the provisions of Section 83 whenever you pay an income tax on your compensation. According to Section 83, only the excess over the amount paid is gross income. The government can't so much as provide an interpretation of Section 83 of its own. Get your paradigm shift and understanding today at takefromcaesar.us.
There are many water filters to choose from, but there's only one, Pure Effect Ultra. It features advanced anti-radiation technology and is constantly rated 5 stars as the #1 system for reduction of fluoride, drug and chemtrail residues, heavy metals, and more. It raises alkaline pH, improves antioxidant potential, and provides virtually instant clean water on demand. All while using no electricity. Want to learn more? Visit PureEffectFilters.com. That's PureEffectFilters.com.
Okay, we're back. This is a short segment, and I guess we started breaking up, and we actually dropped the call. That's what happens when you start talking about love. And, you know, the fact that love was lost with Susie Kamek and her husband did one of those things that, ex-people that love you do, is they try to hurt you. And he did hurt her, and it still continued to hurt her. But I was trying to place her in the thin blue line. The thin blue line would put her in with the bad people, but she's not bad people. Somebody did something bad to her, but somehow it got flipped around, and, the good people were the insurance company, and except there was bad. So how do you deal with that? Once the thin blue line makes its judgment to cuff and stuff and throw you away, well, the administrators with their stacks and stacks of paperwork, well, they don't have stacks of paperwork anymore. Actually, they do have paper on their desk for sure, but they usually just stare at their little monitors or rectangles or whatever you want to call them. It's curious. We're going to go ahead and do some more thin blue line. I have, and the reason I want to cover this is because a lot of people out there, and I know some friends of mine in general, haven't heard this. Now, this second clip that I'll be playing right after the bottom of the hour break will be Rick Rynearson, Veterans Against Police Abuse, VAPA, you can get them, VAPA.org, and you can find out about them and, what they're doing. And I'm going to have to contact Rick again, Rick Rynearson, and find out what the heck he's doing, because he's getting out of the Air Force, and he was kind of like one of those talking heads that talked Constitution and how we should follow it. But he talked to it as an active serving person. So it's kind of tricky. Had to dance around these subjects and stuff like that, and I want to see what he sounds like in person, live and unchained. It's going to be fun. But Rick Rynearson was on, had a couple sheriffs, join me, and of course you guys all are familiar with Richard Mack, and we'll probably get a chance to listen to Richard Mack. But this is going to be an interview that's a lot different than all the other Richard Mack interviews that you've ever heard, because I've heard him talk about the same dang things over and over again. Constitutional sheriff, I've heard him talk about oath keepers. I've heard him talk about all the things that he wants to talk about. This interview, we actually get to hear, a different Richard Mack. Richard Mack was always good to me. Every time I put a call out and said, Richard, I need you to talk. I need somebody to talk to this. He was there. Sheriff Jeffrey Christopher also joined me, and he talked for a little bit. I'm not sure that we're going to get to play that. And, Joe Arpaio made an attempt to call in for a bit, but then I guess he got a little bit bored and dropped the call. I don't know. That would have been fun. But let's see. I guess I'm going to do that on the other side of the break. Do we have any other news? Well, I would like to go back to the Republic of Texas and say that, they're moving along, even though I can't sit there and tell you exactly what's going on today. I do know that they're working on, that international stuff where they're going to the United Nations and saying, hey, you have to go ahead and let us go. Now, is that like the Texas Nationals and their little avenue of, working within the system to change the system? Well, maybe not. Are the votes rigged? I think they are. And in the coming days or weeks as we go forward, I think next week I have a target, and we're going to address one area. We'll bring Chris out of Las Vegas on to talk about corporatism a little bit and the birth of that and how you became a corporation, right? Subservient to a major corporation, right? An asset, if you would. But we have a different avenues that we need to cover, especially since I've got a little bit of ear time from, you folks out in Kerrville. I want to tell you what's important. And I'm not telling you that law enforcement is not important. I'm telling you it's really been done, I guess, too much. It's too hurtful. It's too impersonal. You guys are making too much money off too many people. My mom came to visit me, last month, and those police people in Arizona fined her, $500 for driving in an area where it changes from 45 to 35, and then back to 45, all in the matter of a block. And of course, they put a camera there. So that's $500 that they're taxing an old woman on Social Security for. Is that fair? Is that right? Is that just? I don't know. I don't think you care. I care. We'll be right back. Republic of Texas Radio.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
This is a public announcement. Be ready to copy down a website address at the end of this message. If there was ever a doubt in our mind that radio works, it's gone. We have received such response to our $350 down, $99 a month land purchase opportunity from you that we are blown away. To keep our overhead down, we're using an internet-based sales tool so you can buy with confidence and purchase your land in New Mexico with just a click of a mouse and even pay with PayPal. But some people have said they'd like to arrange multiple parcels or have other questions. We'd be happy to talk to you. Call us toll-free at 855-LAND-HO-1. That's 1-855-LANDHO-1. New Mexico land parcels are still available at only $350 down and $99 a month. This is beautiful land near amenities of a city, but far enough away to be private. And in as little as 1 year, you own it. $350 down, $99 a month. As the days go on, the land gets more and more limited, so visit us online at landho.tv, LANDHO.tv right now.
Has your dancing and romancing done gone away? Are you moaning and a-groaning from the stresses of the day? Are you reeling and appealing because a headache's on the way? Well, relax for just a moment. Stress relief is on the way. Of what am I speaking, you ask? The essential oils of long historic use, the wisdom of the ages, the health care of the ancients, frankincense, myrrh, hyssop, and hundreds of others too numerous to mention. What could be more appealing? Do you know that Young Living Essential Oils has an element of life that makes them extremely effective in body rejuvenation? This element is called vibration, and it works with body systems, not against them. The professionals at Divine Living Oils have tested and been so impressed with this product that we are using them to help others. And who are we? We are health professionals with many years' experience. Trust us, we have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our motto? Because we care about you. Do your health and spirit a great favor. Call us at 304-542-4226. That's 304-542-4226. Again, that's 304-542-4226.
Whew, nice shooting. Hey, that's a sweet AK-47 chest rig. Is that multicam?
Yep, got it from StrikeHardGear.com.
Strike what?
StrikeHardGear.com.
Set your sights on StrikeHardGear.com. Tough, tactical gear for your Soviet-style weapon that's made in the USA. Affordable, plus a no-questions-asked 30-day money-back guarantee and lifetime replacement warranty. StrikeHardGear.com. Go ahead. Pull the trigger.
Come to Finca Baiano, a small community in Panama, which is being established for people who believe that a future crisis may be difficult to survive in North America after a collapse of the system. Go to bugoutpanama.com for more information. There is limited space for 100 people only. Go to bugoutpanama.com to immigrate as long as you can. Prepare. Don't despair at bugoutpanama.com.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
I guess I still have a little bit of a cough. Hey, you're listening to the Republic of Texas radio show. I'm Steve OBrien. I was just talking about my mom and how the Thin Blue Line just taxed her, well, took care of her. And they threw her on the bad side of the line and said, give me $500, now. And she went to those guys and said, hey, I don't have $500. You're going to have to give me some time. And they said, not a problem. We'll extend it. And we'll add another $60 onto it. How's that? So they got some money from my mom. She was on the wrong side of the line because they put up a speed trap in Arizona. How wonderful is that? Anyways, we're going to the Thin Blue Line right now, part 2. Let's see if that actually works. I'll stop talking. Roll it, Sam.
Now, I don't know what your view on the war on drugs is, right? But I see that that's one of the biggest problems of our police force nowadays. As they sit there and they continually fight our brothers and our sisters out there and throw them in jail over this war on drugs, we're wasting a lot of time and effort in promoting that instead of just letting it happen and go away on its own. It feels a lot like that prohibition thing. And I think that, my own personal views, that's a lot of Mexico's problem is our war on drugs. But I don't know. Do you have any comment on that? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my personal view is I think we're probably on the same page there. I also think it's a ridiculous war on drugs. People can do all kinds of things, and as long as there's no victim, and as long as what they're doing responsibly, then there's no reason for that to be a crime. If people want to ingest whatever drug it is, and they take the steps to do so responsibly, then there's no harm, no foul. If they're harming themselves, well, that's their body. They own their body. They should be able to do that if they want. Now, when it comes along time for free health care, in my opinion, if they've been taking steps to harm their body, well, that's another issue. But until they get out into the road or into the public sphere where they're actually presenting a threat to somebody else or they're harming somebody else, I see no issue with that. We live in a diverse country, and we have all kinds of different people with different values and beliefs and religions. We're going to disagree with the decisions that other people make. That it just has to be that way. We shouldn't try to put everybody under the thumb. Instead, we should just try to live together. And it's pretty common sense that as long as what they're doing is not harming anybody else, then there's no reason for government to be involved in it. The flip side of that, the drug wars, is the fact that by us, you mentioned prohibition, by the fact that we're, helping prop up this black market, we are creating, in my opinion, a national security threat through the drug cartels. They are armed heavily, they are powerful, and, our democracy, our politicians, they tend to give a little bit of sway to people who have money. If we get to the point where they are owned by the cartels, we're hosed. This is a national security threat. This isn't just, what your grandmother thinks because she goes to church and she thinks drugs are bad. It's not just about that. This is a serious issue, and we really got to take a look at it, in my opinion.
Right. I think we are pretty much right on that one. And, actually, last week, some guy ran his tractor over half the police force back east. I forget what that was. He ran over 6 police cars and 1 paddy wagon, effectively taking out 60% of their police force. And he got in trouble over a bag of pot. And so all that was over a victimless crime. And I don't know. I don't really support him going and destroying all that other stuff. But, that war on drugs destroys lives. And so we don't know where he was coming at. And the destruction that, that victimless crime that he, was being harassed for would have done to him. So what's the difference between a life and 6 cars? Right? You can be pushed to a breaking point. And I'm seeing people more and more on that edge. That's why, I think it's so important that we need to open our dialogues with our local law enforcement as to, what's right and what's wrong. And these bad laws, like the victimless crimes of, let's say, and I don't support drugs, screw that. If you're stupid enough to spray something into a bag and suck it up into your lungs, then, hey, whatever, or smoke crack in a pipe, that's your deal, dude. I'll let you go on your own. But, it's their body, like you said. Let's back off. We're emboldening the folks down south where everything comes in. The drug cartels are just too strong, and they're oppressing their people. We're not allowing Mexico to grow up because we're using them as this drug supply. And, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. No, it's seriously crazy.
When you have oppressive laws, and when you have the government peering in everybody's bedroom or regulating what they eat or ingest in their body, when you have this pressure, it's going to make people, uncomfortable. And some people are going to lose their minds, unfortunately, like that guy who ran over the vehicles. I don't know his backstory, and, if it was about having a bag of pot, then I think it's unfortunate that, he's had problems with that. But that doesn't justify, of course, vandalizing 6, pieces of public property. Violence or destruction. That's not the answer. And you're right, though. We do need to have a dialogue because we need people on both sides of the issue who are concerned with America. To figure this out, because we don't want the bad cops on their side, making the situation worse because they don't value America, they don't value the rule of law, and we need people on our side, who are just regular, tax-paying citizens who, go off the deep end because they also don't value the rule of law. It's one thing to be wrong, it's another thing to do wrong because you were wronged, So it's a complicated issue, and tempers and run and pressure is out there, and we all need to we need to have a dialogue, and we need intelligent people on both sides to discuss how to take care of this problem for America.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of dialogue, we just lost one caller, but we still have one. Let's see if they want to talk to us. Hold on a second. Let's push this button here and see if it's actually doing something. Kind of curious. It looks like this one's out of Fredericksburg. Come on. Let's go. Sorry, person in Fredericksburg. I'm pushing the button, honestly. Let's go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Who's
I'm
that
out of
on the
Fredericksburg.
line?
I'm out of Fredericksburg because you asked me to call in. This is Richard Mack, Sheriff Mack.
Hey, Sheriff Mack.
Hey, good of you to call. Hey,
well, thanks.
So here's the question for you. Are you familiar with Peaceful Streets at all? Have you heard about that stuff going on in Austin?
Not until your email came to me. I would hope that we're all trying to have peaceful streets. I don't know if that's anything new or if it's the project, if it's a old name to a new kind of project. I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish by it, or if they're going to.
Well, we'll run the story for you real quick. You want to tell them about it, Rick, or do you want me to do it?
Sure, I'll take a shot at it. Peaceful Streets is an organization that was made by Antonio Beeler with the help of some other individuals in Austin. It was sparked by an unlawful arrest that Antonio had. But essentially, what
I know. I know Antonio. He's a real good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, what they're doing is they're arming citizens and they're training citizens with cameras and video technology, and they're actually having these individuals go out in teams and just record police. And when they have something noteworthy, then they post it for everybody to see, including there was one video of a cop that, or a couple of cops that helped out a young lady who was having car problem, and they posted that, and we're like, look at this guy, helping the community, and they're also out there just to, to make sure that, just make sure everything's on the up and up, and to let, law enforcement know that the public's watching.
I think that's a great idea. I actually suggested such about 10 years ago that we should keep cameras on every cop, and so that if they ever do anything good or bad, especially bad, to be quite honest with you, that they would be on the record and be held accountable. I'm talking about even, and really what I was addressing at the time was traffic violations. And I believe that cops violate traffic laws routinely and then turn right around and cite common ordinary citizens for the same thing that cops do, just to go, to get home for lunch, or to get to the donut shop, or to go run an errand, or whatever, whatever they're doing. Technically, if they ever go exceeding the speed limit, they have to have lights and siren on, and that's the law. And then to be able to do that, it requires an emergency. So and I know from personal experience, I did it, that we would exceed the speed limit and do other things, not use our turn signal, or follow too closely, or roll through red lights or stop signs, just when we were doing normal routine stuff. And so I thought of that before, and I thought, if we're going to expose hypocrisy in government, then I think that's one of the places to start.
Well, that thought might have taken 10 years to mature, but we got Austin's Peaceful Streets right now. And that has constitutional standing, right? That's freedom of the press. Or where would you see that fit in, our right to police the police?
Whatever it is, anybody in public is fair game. And, they I don't know where they did it. I can't remember where they did it. But they actually arrested somebody for filming cops, and it didn't hold up. Once the cop puts the uniform on, he is a public employee. Anything he does in public is for public purview, and it's just too bad. I'll tell any cop, any chief or sheriff knows that they are public officials. They can have ride-along programs where the public watches what they do. They can have the press go along with them. They certainly can't stop the press from filming whatever a cop does in public. And if they can't stop the press from doing it, they certainly can't stop you and me or anybody else. We can do whatever we want to in public. We can film. We can watch. We can take pictures. And the cops should know that they are fair game. And I don't care what constitutional right you call it. They are fair game, and they know it.
Right. Well, go ahead, Rick.
Nope, I was just agreeing. Very well said.
Yeah, one of the things that we've been seeing out there in the last... See, this thing's all new, right? You know, Antonio Beeler, that incident happened on New Year's Eve, but then a snowball happened, and somehow he raised a huge sum of money, and about 4 weeks ago, you know, he hit his goal and hauled 250 people into this one venue in Austin and gave away 100 cameras, and there was probably about... what it looked like to me, about 20 veteran camera people, you know, private individuals that had equipment and already knew what was going on. You could pick them out of the crowd. So for the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 weeks, Rick? How long has it been?
Yeah, it's been about that, yeah.
Yeah. They've been constantly documenting what's going on, their progression of, you know, developing the server, all the procedures and whatnot of how to deal with it. You know, Antonio went to the city council meeting, and you can find this YouTube, you know, up there on the net. But he went there and said, "Here, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And I just want to let you know we're not in a negative place here. We just want the facts." And so they're building this system, but they're facing a little bit of kickback right now. The officers either come up with this tactic on their own, or they're talking to each other about it, but they're shining flashlights at the camera lens. And we have one incident just recently with, you know, pulling horses in front of the cameraman. I believe that's... I forgot the guy's name. Comrade was involved with that one. But I look at that as almost destruction of evidence. You know, am I far off by saying, you know, by actively shining a flashlight on a camera that is recording an issue? I know you're not a lawyer. I don't want to...
Well, I'm not, but it's still a matter of common sense, and... you know, you can't put hidden cameras inside a police station or inside a police car, but you can put them on your property or ask to put them on anybody else's property, or you can put them any place else in public, I guess, that, you know, they can't be in restrooms. Okay, or anything like that, or invade other...
Let's cut this. We're almost out of time, folks. That was the long segment. We got about another 4 minutes when I get back from break. That was a Thin Blue Line, Part 2. That was something that, Rick Reinerson and me did in 2012. It was an amazing year as I bounced through my archives. Haven't heard that one in quite some time. And actually, it is the most interesting Richard Mack that you're going to hear. You can go over to, well, you actually hear different Richard Mack or Sheriff Mack, however you want to talk to him. He talks about a lot of subjects that I want him to talk about, not the subjects that, you know, he's used to talking about, constitutional sheriff, oath keepers, or you know, Bundy Ranch or whatever. We got him to talk a little bit about the Thin Blue Line, and it was just really, really cute. So, you know, I do recommend it. Hang on, we'll wrap it up on the other side. You're listening to the Republic of Texas radio show.
Extendivite really works. Here is what people are saying.
I have a testimony about how wonderful heart drops are. I ended up at Mayo Clinic, just had an awful time with angina and related problems to my heart problem. I remembered that I'd run out of heart drops and had reordered, and when I started taking them again, all these problems went away, and I just want to say how great these heart drops are. I'd recommend them to anyone.
Like I had my last heart attack in August, and I was having some form of angina pain pretty well every day. And then since I started taking it, I haven't had any angina pain at all. You know, I'm satisfied.
To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
This is a public announcement. Be ready to copy down a website address at the end of this message. First off, a big thank you to people from Oregon, California, New York, Maine, Connecticut, Saskatchewan, Canada. People are logging on to landho.tv and they are purchasing land in the United States in sunny New Mexico for as low as $350 down and $99 a month. In 1 year, you own the land. These are usable parcels in a development that can only be worth more money in the years to come. Similar lots in the same development have sold for up to $15,000. So it really is a no-brainer. Visit landho.tv to purchase yours today via PayPal. Other mainstream investments are good, but they sit in a vault. Land remains a true investment that you can use while it can increase in value. Current land prices are already going up, and this commercial could be pulled at any time, so you must act fast, because when these properties are gone, they're gone. $350 down, $99 a month. Landho.tv. LANDHO.tv. Right now.
I don't know what to say. I think it's all related. You know, it's all crazy too. And we've been talking about Texas independence. We've been talking about, you know, life in the corporate United States of America in this thing called, corporate U.S. We've got a big police state here, folks. That's the truth, no matter how you look at it. Then they got this thin blue line, and then what's behind the thin blue line? It's kind of like this strange little paper pusher. It's called the United States legal system, and it doesn't really care too much about right. It cares about facts and evidence and precedent. I'm looking at some of the documents that are, you know, being, leveraged against Susie, and it all really stems to somebody else taking out a loan, forging her name. But that's, you know, that's arguing truths, right? It doesn't matter that somebody forged her name. That's a different thing, right? She's still responsible and culpable and whatever. But lately, she's been dealing with this thing called simulating a legal process, and she just wanted to get, you know, the word out. So she went ahead and talked to Dr. David Krupa and said, hey, man, can you help me? You know, common law is a legal thing in the United States of America as well as in the Republic of Texas. So we're going to go ahead and subpoena some people, and let's get this case heard in reality, not through the statutory legal law system. So she went ahead and subpoenaed one of the guys that was responsible for allegedly holding the deed on Susie Kamick's house on the foreclosure case, as well as the judge that had been involved in trying to say, well, they issued a writ of mandamus and quo warranto, which said, well, show me your authority, and why do you have authority in this case? And, show me the evidence, right? You know, there you go.